there's a strong mythos around Donald Trump, and you have his MAGA base who see him as this successful property mogul. He's a reality TV star who's a strong leader who gets things done. He's anti establishment, he's anti elite, and he's going to make America great again. He truly is. And then there's, I think, a part of the base who know who he is, who maybe believe that some of the claims against him, accusations, are misinformation. And then I think there's a good portion that just don't believe any of the smears against him. They just think like he is the most persecuted president ever. And I want to watch a bit of a clip of Michael Wolff, a journalist who's written a few books now. His fourth book has just come out, All or Nothing, about Trump's campaign over the last year, and really goes into detail and draws on sources that are close to Trump, because Trump is not liked by the people around him. So let's get straight into the video.
So tell us about that.
Well, I was fishing around. That's a quote from one of the people in the close Trump circle. And I was saying to this person, she hasn't made one campaign appearance, and did not until the last week of the campaign, and she hasn't shown up for the in any instances in any of his court appearances. And I had somebody told me the story of Jason Miller approaching her and saying, "Hey, it would be great in terms of the first indictment, of you coming there and stand by your man." And then she said, then she laughed, said, "Nice try." Anyway, I was talking this through with one of the people and asking, so what's going on here? Really, what is this about? And I remember this person looked at me with incredulity, as though it should be obvious to anyone. And this person said she hates his fucking guts. And then at that moment you go, "Oh my God, but could this be anything else other than that?"
Yeah, Melania apparently, when Trump won, because they weren't expecting to win. Famously, like Trump didn't think he was going to win. He thought Hillary was going to win, and it was actually he was genuinely surprised when he won. And Melania wasn't happy because at that point she knew it was going to affect their life, the scrutiny, the criticism of Trump, and it was going to impact on Barron's life, their son. She was not happy. She hated that whole period. And now he's won again, and they don't see each other. Famously, they don't know where she lives. A lot of people don't actually know where Melania lives. She wasn't visible in the campaign last year, like only once, as mentioned then. And yeah. And famously, there's that quote where someone says something like, "Oh, is Donald Trump only with you for your looks?" And then he says, "Why do you think I'm with him? Do you think I'm with him for his looks, i.e., for his money?" So obviously they're in this very transactional relationship, which I think says so much about who Donald Trump is, because he just demands loyalty. That's it. All he values is loyalty. Do what I tell you, toe the line, and you're in. And if you're not, you're out. You're out. So very interesting dynamics.
Well, no, I didn't think it in the beginning. I mean, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, in 2005 when The Apprentice started, I was at CNBC. I used to go to the parties, and it looked like they did have a relationship. But I think something did happen in the ensuing years. What do you think?
No, well, I think, and you can imagine what happened. In addition to Stormy Daniels, there was, I don't think the president.
Just a little note on Stormy Daniels. I don't know if this is true. This is from Stormy Daniels. She said Donald Trump had a tiny penis and it was weird shaped. And I, do some armchair psychoanalysis. Wouldn't that say a lot about Donald Trump, how insecure he is? If he truly does have a tiny penis, and I don't want to knock people with tiny penises, you are kings too, but doesn't that explain a lot about who he is? I mean, again, we don't know if it's true. Stormy Daniels said so. She had sex with him. So if she's going to know, it's going to be her.
presidency. I mean, as I talk about in my first book, he really did not expect to win, and she was resistant, and he assured her, no chance, we're going to win this. And then I think this has all been Washington, him in this, in the further exaggeration of his Trump persona, has been difficult to handle.
I'm blown away by the reporting, and I'm blown away by the detail that you've gotten. And I've theorized something I want to test on you. No, nobody likes him. Nobody likes him. The kids don't like him. The wife doesn't like him. The staff doesn't like him.
I think only you and I get this.
Am I wrong in saying that, sir? I mean,
I mean, other than the people who don't know him out in the great the great land who vote for him, to know him is to really, really not like him, to dislike him actually intensely, to become for him to inhabit you in a way that is really, really toxic, which is one.
Also, on that, Trump has temper tantrums like a child. He notoriously gets very angry if he doesn't get his way. He will shout. I mean, we saw a bit of this the other day with Zelensky. Like, he seems very calm and collective when he's like in public. He seems like quite a chill guy. Behind the scenes, he's insane. He's very angry, easy to flip like that. And if he doesn't get his way, he is a toddler. And people can't deal with that. I mean, like, apparently he is lots of work. I mean, you don't need that as a president. You don't need, well, any work, any line of work, but he's deeply, deeply insecure and kind of just not a good person. Like, Epstein famously said that Trump never did anything good by accident, on purpose. It was always by accident. Like, he would never do something good for being good. It was only by accident. And this is coming from Jeffrey Epstein.
One of the reasons, by the way, all of these people talk to me and continue to talk to me. You need an outlet when you feel that.
Right.
Now, and it's this thing, politics, and these are people, the bulk of them who have made political, or many of them who have made political careers. And in a way, they're used to people who are working for people who are extremely difficult. But I think Trump surpasses that.
Yeah. So I've never met anybody that likes him, and I talk to everybody as like you do, and they put up with him, and they tolerate him, and they work around him, and they go into spiritual healing, try to heal themselves, and all this sort of nonsense. But there's a high level of toxicity in his midst, and yet he still attracts these people. You explain that, but why? What is the ingredient? What am I searching for, sir? You have it a little bit in your book, but I'm going to try to explain it this way. He's disliked by the people that are closest to him, yet there's some type of a magical ingredient that he has where he's a prodigious political figure. I mean, we have to accept he's one of the more significant political figures of our life, because he's been with us now for 12 years. It's almost like an FDR shadow.
Totally. And that is part of the thing. It is politics. What is the thing you value most in politics? It is winning. And right now we have a pretty extraordinary record of him winning. But there's another thing, and it's a personal thing, and I've seen him in the room do this. There's this constant pairing of punishment and reward, which makes people crazy, and they don't know what to do. And it's his one of his forms, and almost everything he does is about dominance and submission. And it's a way that he achieves this. So people come to hate him for this, but it also is very, very effective of bringing people to heel, bringing people into your corner, getting them to do things that they would not otherwise do. The Michael Cohen example and all of that testimony I can't think of anything that could be more vivid to that point in experience.
Elon Musk makes it, Michael.
Nobody makes it. Nobody.
Yeah. So it's just
Nobody.
a matter of time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Elon thing. Remember, so Steve Bannon made it for 6 months,
Right.
and Steve Bannon was in a way in the Elon position, the cover of Time magazine, all of that kind of thing, and then he went 6 months, and then he was out. Now the question is, what does Elon want out?
I think it may be different this time because Elon's clearly in charge. He's clearly the shadow president, and that means Trump's going to be a lot more amenable to that and kind of be like, okay, you got me in, you're in control of Doge. And also, he can be a fall guy as well, because that's what Trump wants. Obviously, he has that in JD Vance in the same way Mike Penn was the fall guy last time. But I think maybe Michael Wolff has said 6 months, same as Steve Bannon. I think it's going to be a bit longer. Maybe not much longer, but it depends on how the economy goes in the next 6 months, how they can kind of ride this wave, because already Trump support polls are kind of plummeting already in the first month. So it depends on how bad it gets. Like, will people go, wait a minute, these cuts are too much, and then kind of rebel? Or will he be able to create some distractions? Will something else happen? He's very good at using distractions and means of just kind of deflecting from him onto something else. So it remains to be seen.
Out of this, what does he hope he can achieve? I mean, he must have some idea that this is going to come to tears at some point. I don't know. Maybe he's hoping that Trump will Trump will die before it comes to that, and that will I don't know.
No, guys like Trump don't die, though, Michael. I think you know that, and I know that. He's he knows. The good die young, Michael. I want to tie it to one of your last books, one that we talked about, and that's Murdoch. Tell us
if that does happen soon, which there's a good chance. Trump is deeply unhealthy. He drinks like 12 cans of Diet Coke a day. He's got an awful diet, but he's got such a self-confidence in his brain. And I think that's probably what will keep him alive for another decade, because he's so confident in his own abilities. So be confident, kids. It will take you far in life.
Relationship that you feel that Donald. I saw Rupert in the Oval Office with Larry Ellison a few weeks back. What's the relationship with Trump, Fox News, and the Murdochs?
Okay, well, it's very complicated. Rupert hates Donald Trump. I mean, I've spoken, long before, long before the presidency was even on the horizon for Trump. Rupert used to talk about him and ridicule him. And Rupert lived in a Trump building for a period when his big apartment on Fifth Avenue was being renovated, and Jared and Ivanka lived in that building, and he became friends with Jared and Ivanka, or his then wife Wendy really befriended them. But he got to know, Trump was around. And here, I'll give you a story that once I was interviewing Rupert. We were having coffee at his apartment in this building, spoke for whatever, an hour, and then we left together, and came down, got on the elevator, came down, midway it stops, doors open, and Donald Trump gets on. And Rupert, who is an incredible mumbler and talks into his arm, said something, some pleasantry, I suppose. And Trump turned to me and says, "Do you ever understand what he's saying?" But clearly, over the past, since January 6th, Murdoch set out to use Fox as the means with which to deprive deprive Trump of any possibility of a further political career, really being one of the key people in the invention of the Ron DeSantis bubble. And obviously all of that failed. It turns out that one would have thought that Trump needed Fox. It turns out Trump is bigger than Fox, that Fox needs Trump. And Rupert, who is always Mr. Ultimately Realpolitik, came to Jesus, really.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody told me, described the moment that Trump was in his office behind the desk, the phone rings, and he takes a call, and then he comes outside and says to everybody, "Well, you'll never believe that was Rupert." And somebody in the outer office says involuntarily, "Murdoch?" Yeah, they couldn't believe that this finally, the flaw had thaw had finally happened.
Capitulation.
Yeah.
All right, I got you for 5 more minutes, so we'll talk quickly. Give me 30 seconds on Putin. What's the deal there?
What is the deal? It's some deal. It's either he does have something on Donald Trump, or whoever Putin is, whatever he has succeeded at, stealing billions of dollars and being the autocrat of our time, is weirdly appealing to is directly appealing to Donald Trump.
But prima facie, it feels like it's more than any of us can figure out. None of us.
Steve Bannon always used to say, that there must be something there.
Right. We couldn't figure it out. I talked to Steve about it. I talked to McMaster about it. We couldn't figure it out. All right, I've got 5 words. I'm going to read you these 5 words. I do this with every one of my authors. I'm going to say the word. You're going to say 1 or 2 sentences about the word. If I say the word or the concept MAGA, what does this mean to you? What's your reaction to that?
No, it's the Trump world and the Trump reality.
Yeah, and it's basically a hijacking of the former Republican Party, right? It's a decapitation.
Yeah,
of that party. It's really that party now, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I say Trump world. What do you say?
That closed circle that he's in the middle of. Somebody once said to me that there's no reality for Trump outside of the sound of his own voice, and that is that world that he inhabits. In my book, I write about these 2 particular yes people, Boris Epstein and this woman Natalie Hart. Mm-hmm. So he reinforces this world. So it's a very, very, very circumscribed world. Nothing much gets in.
Right.
Which was
true in reality television, was true in real estate,
yes,
and is actually also true in politics. Okay, 3 more words. J.D. Vance. I say J.D. Vance. You think what?
Another, his lackey, just another person who is who has drunk the Kool-Aid, and that will poison him.
So I think J.D. Vance ends up in the wood chipper, never makes it to the presidency.
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
the Mike Pence of this situation.
Yes. Anyone in the vice president. He doesn't want a vice president.
Right.
In the book, I quote him as saying, "Somebody, why do I need a vice president?"
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. 2 more. Elon Musk.
Steve Bannon.
Okay. Last word. I'm going to give you the last word. Donald Trump.
The most extraordinary figure of our time, for better or worse.
He tries to stay. It's January 2029. He tries to stay.
He'll try to stay, but only on a performative basis. He will milk every headline he can milk, because that's what he does. That's what he thrives on. That's how he survives.
But he's gone on the 20th of January.
He's gone. Yes.
On the 29th.
Oh, yes.
All right, so
and probably grateful to be gone, by the way.
Tell me why.
I don't really think he likes being president. I think actually that his life in Mar-a-Lago these last number of years was much, much more pleasant to him, much more satisfying to go through the campaign, a presidential campaign, an activity that requires superhuman attention, and to begin every day by playing 18 holes of golf, that's unique.
Yeah. I agree with you, by the way. He likes the attention, and if he can make some money off of it, money and attention are the two things in the reptilian brain. It's really nothing else. So I know he doesn't like the pomp and circumstance of the presidency in terms of things that he has to do as president. He likes the attention. Maybe he likes the band playing.
And he doesn't,
for him.
when they make him focus on something, it's really annoying to him, and he doesn't do it.
Right. Well, amen. All right. Well,
so go and buy the book, All or Nothing. It charts the last few years up to the campaign. It really goes into the world of Trump and behind the scenes. I'm currently reading at the moment. It's really interesting. Hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.